Star Wars has an ever-expanding universe. There are now loads of movies, TV shows, books, and comics. In this video, I'm going to focus on one thing that people always seem to talk about: lightsaber battles. I'm going to count down the top 10 lightsaber battles in my opinion. This could be based on pure spectacle, fight choreography, or emotion behind the fight. So let's get started. Number 10. Kylo Ren and Rey versus the Praetorian Guards. This scene has some great choreography, incredible camera work, and has some shocking moments. Seeing Rey and Kylo fight side by side was great, especially considering where we saw them at the end of the last movie. One thing that I love about this scene is how it pays homage to the throne scene in Return of the Jedi. The old Sith Master tortures the young hero, and the apprentice of the Sith Lord kills his master to save that hero. The way they fight is so wild and so unpredictable. They made it look as if this wasn't even choreographed. Also, the kills that each of them make are crazy. At the end of the fight, we see the destruction of Anakin's lightsaber, something that has been passed down through so many Star Wars films and so many Star Wars characters.
This weapon is your life.
It's your father's lightsaber.
Kept it locked away.
Where'd you get that?
A good question. For another time.
Number 9. Anakin vs. Ventress. This was from the original Clone Wars series before we got the 2008 version. I'm a huge fan of this series. A big factor of that might be nostalgia, because I remember watching it in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I love how the series finale led right into episode 3, and I remember watching it the night before I went to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. But now about the fight. The scene makes great use of all aspects of their powers, from their lightsaber skills to using the Force to throw things and jump. It also takes full advantage of the surroundings they're in, making the fight so entertaining. It starts on the ground, then in the trees as they hop from branch to branch, swing on vines, then they make their way to a temple as it starts to rain. I love the shot where the lightsaber is getting rained on. The sound is just so satisfying and really builds up the suspense. The animation with the light reflecting on their faces was so well done. The ending of the fight is the best part. We see Anakin bring out his inner dark side. I love how when he smashes on Ventress, shots of Obi-Wan and Yoda appear, and that scream at the end is just awesome. Number 8. Akron vs. Thexon, the Eternal Twins. This fight from the Old Republic was short, but the build-up to the fight was magnificent, and made the short fight mean so much more. The two in the fight are twin brothers that are best friends. We watch them grow up together, laugh together, train together, and protect one another, and both tried to please their father. The two went through hell on the battlefield, Akron even sustaining a permanent handicap much like Darth Vader, but not as bad. All of that leads us to the actual fight. Akron, driven by resentment toward his father, makes a killing move toward him. Thexon pulls him back with the Force, and the two fight until Akron then kills his brother. The look in his eye, realizing what he had done, is just so powerful. The twins' final moments together, staring into each other's eyes, says so much without a word of dialogue. We see their hands connect at the beginning of the story, and see their hands release at the end, bringing us full circle. Number 7. Obi-Wan, or Ben Kenobi, versus Darth Vader.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
You can't have a top 10 lightsaber list without the very first one. When Lucas wrote this, he knew how much this fight meant, even when the audience didn't. He knew about the downfall of their friendship, and knew that this was the first time they had met since then. It might not be that impressive looking at it from a spectacle standpoint, but the fight is paired with many emotions, shame, regret, and honestly sadness as well. Number 6. Kylo Ren vs. Rey. This too had a lot of emotion, as Kylo Ren had just killed his father, Han Solo, someone who Rey also looked to as a father figure.
You feel like he's the father you never had. He would have disappointed you.
So in a way, both of them lost a father before this fight. That alone makes their drive to beat the other on maximum. There are a few things I have to point out. One is the strength of Kylo Ren. He was shot with Chewie's cannon, something that obliterated anyone else who was hit with it. But he ate it like a boss, and he still put up an amazing fight. Also, this should clear up the haters commenting that Rey shouldn't have won because she wasn't trained and Kylo was. If anyone else had been hit by Chewie's cannon, they would not have even been able to get up. The fact that he got up, beat Finn, and fought Rey while blood was spitting out of him shows how strong he really is. The second thing I want to point out is when Rey calls the lightsaber to herself and uses the Force for the first time, other than when she did the mind trick. The lightsaber comes out of the snow, and the music starts playing. I remember sitting in the theater with chills running down my body. This is also a great Easter egg to The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke used the Force for the first time, pulling the very same lightsaber out of, you guessed it, snow. Number 5. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul. This, in my opinion, has the best choreography of any lightsaber battle. It's fast, precise, and exciting. The soundtrack to Duel of the Fates is incredible. And the location of the fight is so visually pleasing. Lucas also made the environment of the fight affect how it went when Obi-Wan can't get to Qui-Gon and Maul in time. I remember watching this on DVD for the first time when I was around the age of 6, and even then, I was touched and shocked by Qui-Gon's death, which I never saw coming. Number 4. Darth Sidious versus Darth Maul and Savage Opress. This is hands down the best lightsaber battle in the Clone Wars show. The first line pays tribute to the original Star Wars films.
I sense a presence.
A presence I've not felt since...
Master.
Then we see Sidious kick ass with 2 lightsabers while he laughs as he just toys with them. They make each strike of his lightsaber so powerful. Once again, they have an Easter egg. This is the exact situation as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul. Only this time, Maul is in Obi-Wan's shoes when Savage gets killed right in front of him. Maul then fights harder than ever against Sidious, just as Obi-Wan fought harder than ever against Maul. It's sort of poetic justice. The end of the fight leads right into the Darth Maul comics, which is really cool.
I'm not going to kill you. I have other uses for you.
Number 3. Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. This is the fight that brought the original trilogy to a close, and later brought the 6 films to a close. The sheer amount of conflict going through both Luke and Vader was so interesting to watch. Every great hero struggles with temptation at some point during their journey, and for Luke, this was that moment. Seeing him smash on his father was so incredible. There's no choreography here, it's just pure anger, confusion, and temptation. When Luke cuts off his father's hand, and then looks at his robotic hand, it dawns on him that he's headed down the same path as his father, and he makes the choice not to follow in his father's footsteps.
I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And Vader decides to do the same thing, this time following in his son's footsteps. He saves Luke and kills Sidious. He then fulfills the prophecy when he asks Luke to take his helmet off. The prophecy that so many people thought to be wrong when Anakin turned to the dark side turned out to be right. It just had a different way of playing out. He destroyed the Sith, killing both Sidious and himself.
But you'll die.
Nothing can stop that now.
Number 2. Ahsoka Tano versus Darth Vader. This is one of the most powerful confrontations in my opinion. It perfectly bridges the Clone Wars with Star Wars Rebels in the most epic way possible. The fight is driven by the nostalgia of the original show, which makes this fight mean so much. Anakin felt that Ahsoka had abandoned him, and this had a big part of him turning to the dark side.
Ahsoka, why did you leave? Where were you when I needed you?
Vader's entrance alone is so epic, and to see the old master and the old apprentice meet each other for the first time since Ahsoka left him heartbroken at the Jedi Temple is just so powerful. The part that hits you the hardest is when Ahsoka cuts part of Vader's helmet off, and we hear both James Earl Jones' voice mixed with Matt Lanter's voice, who played Anakin in the Clone Wars series.
Ahsoka.
Anakin.
I get chills every time, and if that wasn't enough, Ahsoka says that she won't leave him like she left him at the temple.
I won't leave you. Not this time.
The suspense builds as the two face each other. You wonder what he's going to say. You hope he'll forgive her. You hope she'll be able to help him. And then he says,
Then you will die.
This scene is so incredibly well done, and is probably the best scene in both the Clone Wars and Rebels in my opinion. And the fact that it left you on a cliffhanger is even more heart-pounding. Number 1. Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm sure that most of you saw this coming. This is what fans have been waiting for since the announcement of the second trilogy of films in 1994. They waited 11 years for this. It was the final battle, the final puzzle piece on how Anakin got in the suit, the final showdown between master and apprentice. We saw Obi-Wan go from Anakin's father figure,
"You're the closest thing I have to a father,"
to being his brother. Obi-Wan was reluctant to fight him because the two were so close.
I will not kill Anakin. He is like my brother.
With the backstory we know for the fight, and what we know will happen in the future, makes this fight the missing piece, the thing that will bridge the two trilogies together. It's been in Lucas's head since the 70s, and he knew the two had an epic showdown, and when it was finally realized, it did not disappoint. The visual elements are absolutely outstanding. The lava, the risky jumps and flips barely dodging death, and so much more. This fight has so much to offer, both emotionally and visually. The ending is by far the best part, as Obi-Wan yells down to his fallen apprentice.
You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!
Obi-Wan doesn't have the courage to kill Anakin. Obi-Wan walking away led to the creation of a monster. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can follow me on social media, links are in the description, and look out for more great videos on the way.